Hello, welcome to my man cave. I'm just chilling tonight. I've got a rare night off from work, so I thought I'd make a little video and just talk about some nerdy stuff that I was into back in the day, that I'm still into now, and I'm going to talk about some of my action figures from way back when. So the action figures I'm going to talk about today are wrestling figures from the early 90s, from Galoob that did the WCW stuff, and Hasbro that did the WWF stroke WWE. I'm from the WWF school. So I got into wrestling probably late 89. Yeah, it would have been about then. And, there was always wrestling on UK TV, but it was British wrestling. So it was like your Big Daddy, your Giant Haystacks, them type of characters. It was all like, pure pantomime. And it was really entertaining. And that used to be on a Saturday afternoon in the very early 80s. Then it wasn't on TV for quite a while. And I remember coming home from hanging out with my friends. Would have been, probably September, maybe October 89. And I come in and my dad was watching, something on the TV. And my dad used to love sports, used to love rugby, football, boxing, all of that type of thing. But he was watching something a little bit different, and it was wrestling, American wrestling. And, I sat talking to him, then I ended up watching this wrestling show with him. And I was really impressed with it. It was a lot of action. It weren't boring. Sometimes you watch boxing matches and they can be a little bit boring. There's a lot of hugging and it can get very technical. I suppose it depends who's boxing and what the match is about. But I remember watching this wrestling and thinking, wow, this is just action-packed. This is amazing. They're doing all these crazy moves. This is nothing like the wrestling that I saw years ago with Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks and all them kind of characters. These are like, doing crazy moves, and, it's just all hype and that, you know what I mean? And it was fast paced, and, the characters were very believable, and yeah, I was just hooked on it. So every week my dad would record this wrestling that was on, I think it was on ITV, and it was on like really late at night. So he'd record it for me and himself and my brother to watch. And yeah, there were good times, watching the WCW. At the time it would have been like Sting. He was like the main face of the company. We got Ric Flair, he was awesome. You had like Doom, they were like, were they tag team champions at the time? I think they was, and they were like kicking everyone's ass. You had the Steiner brothers, the Fabulous Freebirds, Great Muta, Lex Luger, the Horsemen, when it was like, was it Barry Windham and who's the other guy? Arn Anderson, and there was, what's a big fella called? Sid Vicious, as well as Ric Flair. And yeah, it was great. I used to really enjoy watching them shows. I remember being at school and talking to my friends about it, and then other friends that had like Sky TV was like, oh, there's this other type of wrestling and it's a little bit different, and it's called the WWF, the World Wrestling Federation. And you know, the characters are different the athletes are different, the wrestlers are different. I remember some kid bringing, I think it was like a sticker book, and yeah, he was showing everyone in the class, you know, it's like, you know, all the profiles of all these like larger than life characters that look like superheroes, and I was like, wow, this looks cool. So I eventually got to watch it because my auntie, she had Sky TV, and not many people had Sky TV back then. You know, it's like, you know, cable TV or whatever. And I spoke to her, and, you know, she recorded it, which was very good of her. And she used to record the, you know, the matches, the Saturday Night Live every week, and then bring it round so me, my brother, and my dad could watch it. And it was slightly different from WCW. It was a bit more cartoony, a bit more like larger than life characters, a bit more colourful. They were like superheroes. You know, very quick matches, but I liked it. I liked the pace of it and the energy of it. It seemed like a bigger production, you know, looking back at it now. WCW was a bit more on a budget, as it were, you know what I mean? But I kind of like the wrestling better in the WCW, but I did like this new WWF thing. So we'd be watching, you know, all the Saturday night main events, and then I remember Survivor Series 1990 come about. My auntie, she recorded that for us. It was a pay-per-view thing, and yeah, I remember being blown away by, you know, some of the characters. It was like the Undertaker's debut, and you know, obviously, you know, you had your Hulk Hogan's and your Ultimate Warriors and your Demolition and Mr. Perfects, your Texas Tornadoes and that, and it was awesome. It was like all this mashup of all these characters. I remember as well that same year I went to the local arcade, and there was a video game, and it was the WWF World Superstars edition, and you could be like Randy Savage, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, you could play as Hulk Hogan, and the final boss at the end of the game was a tag team of Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and Andre the Giant, the Mega Bucks, as it were, you know. So this must have been in development around about 88 or something, you know, when SummerSlam and the Mega Powers were about. And I was blown away by this game. And it was very similar to Double Dragon. It was a similar type of style of graphics and sprites and characters. In fact, it could possibly have been made by the same people. I think it was Tetnos or something like that, or Tetmos. I could be wrong, or maybe Data East. But yeah, I remember being blown away by it, and yeah, spending, you know, all my pocket money on the arcades when it was around. Fast forward to 1991. Just watched the Royal Rumble of that year, and I remember in the arcades around about, would have been about Easter time, that the WWF game come out, a new one, and you could pick a lot of characters, a new roster of characters like Demolition and Mr. Perfect, Sergeant Slaughter, Jake the Snake Roberts, and you could either play as a tag team, or you could play as a single character and do a Royal Rumble or Battle Royal where you just got to survive and not get thrown out or whatever. And yeah, I used to spend a lot of money on that every Saturday with my friends, and yeah, it used to be a lot of fun. As well as Street Fighter 2, that was always a stable in the arcade. Yeah, I used to love that game too. But yeah, fond memories. 1991, 1992, 1993, 1994, 1995, 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030, 2031, 2032, 2033, 2034, 2035, 2036, 2037, 2038, 2039, 2040, 2041, 2042, 2043, 2044, 2045, 2046, 2047, 2048, 2049, 2050, 2051, 2052, 2053, 2054, 2055, 2056, 2057, 2058, 2059, 2060, 2061, 2062, 2063, 2064, 2065, 2066, 2067, 2068, 2069, 2070, 2071, 2072, 2073, 2074, 2075, 2076, 2077, 2078, 2079, 2080, 2081, 2082, yeah, I used to love all the wrestling from that era. I got out of it around about 1992 after the WrestleMania, after the Sid Justice versus Hulk Hogan. I don't know, I just got into other things, kind of lost interest in it. And it started getting a bit silly, you know, some of the storylines, especially in WWF, with like, you know, Papa Shango and Undertaker. And they were great wrestlers, but the storylines were just a bit too, well, this is, you know, it's kind of lost its charm a bit for me. Um, yeah, and, you know, growing up and hanging out with your friends and all of that type of stuff, you know what I mean? I didn't really have much time for it, but yeah, I got back into it, and yeah, I've I've been rediscovering it lately. Well, in the last few years, but yeah, I've still got a collection of all my action figures, so I'm just gonna go through a few of them. We'll start off with an icon, the iconic Hulk Hogan, the second edition. He has the action, the bear hug action. He's in an awesome pose there. And this was made by Hasbro. He's got a few points of articulation. You can twist his head, move his hips, and of course his action feature, which is, yeah, quite unique to Hulk Hogan. Man's a bit battered, but yeah, he's still an awesome looking figure. Great likeness to the most iconic wrestler ever, I suppose. Not the best, but he was good. He had some good matches and he always pulled in a good crowd. Hulk Hogan version 2. Who we got next? Okay, so this was a great heel. Let me put that over there. Sergeant Slaughter. Now I was into Hasbro's G.I. Joe, or Action Force as it was called in this country, and you know, my brother actually had the figure of Sergeant Slaughter that come with a little tank, and that was a dope figure. And you know, me and my brother used to collect all the, you know, the G.I. Joe's, Action Force, all that type of thing. Yeah, we had a really good collection of that between us. And yeah, when I realised that Sergeant Slaughter, or Sergeant Slammer as he was called in the UK, was an actual real wrestler, and he did the voices for the cartoons, I was blown away. I was like, wow, so that was based on a real life character. So this is the Hasbro figure, and he looks awesome. He's so like him. He's got the finger pointing at all the maggots and all these opponents, ready to give someone an eye jammy. Check out that chin. It would have been nice if you could remove the hat, you know, if they made that like an accessory, but yeah, he's awesome regardless. He's got a few points of articulation. You can twist his waist, move his head, and he has this slamming, punching action. And you can move his arms individually as well, you know, which is quite cool. And he still works after all these years. Sergeant Slaughter. Attention. Brilliant character. Okay, let's check out some WCW characters now. Okay, who do we have here? Barry Windham. He was an awesome wrestler. He was actually in the WWF for a little while as the Widowmaker. And yeah, these were made by Galoob, and they had no points of articulation, but they wasn't as cartoony as the WWF ones. They looked more real, but I don't know, there was something about these figures. Even though they didn't move, I used to love collecting these, and yeah, you know, making little wrestling matches and all that as a kid. And yeah, he was an awesome wrestler and awesome figure. Great pose. Yeah, You've got the ponytail going on. This was in his Horseman heel phase. Barry Windham. Who else do we have? We have Lex Luger. Awesome character. Man's a little bit battered. Let me just see if I can zoom in a bit better. Focus on that. Great likeness to the awesome wrestler. The full package, or total package was he called. His pose is a bit crazy, but yeah, he used to do that a lot, I suppose, in the ring. So I get why they moulded him that way. But yeah, I've got another Lex Luger, actually, a UK exclusive somewhere. He's in some green trunks, there he is, and yellow wristbands. There was another one that come out where he's in his robe attire, but I never had that as a kid. But yeah, Lex Luger, dope wrestler. The total package. We got the Giant, and this is a beast of a figure. He's in a bit of a crazy pose. My Giant has got a few battle scars on him. His fingers are a bit worn down. It looks like he's gonna, do some basketball maneuvers. But yeah, the scale of him is great. Like, check him out. Let's get the total package. He just towers over all of these other WCW characters. He was UK exclusive. Yeah, he was in WWF as well. But yeah, he's a great figure. He looks kind of jolly there. Yeah, like he's just scored a goal, or he's just hit a slam dunk, or he's just choked another wrestler out. There he is, the Giant. We got the Z-Man, Tom Zink. Great pose. Yeah, he's awesome. He kind of reminds me of the Dragon Steamboat a little bit. I don't know what he is, but yeah, the Z-Man. He used to team up with, let's see if I can find him, this guy, Flying Brian. He's got a few battle scars. Yeah, great pose. Really looks like the guy too. Everything. Yeah, he was great. Really good wrestler. Good face. They were a good face tag team. Speaking of tag teams, it's one of my favourite tag teams of all time. Doom, Hacksaw Butch Reed, and Ron Simmons. Awesome wrestlers. They used to kick everyone's ass in the WCW. It would have been nice if Galoob would have brought out some masks for these guys, some removable masks or whatever, but they didn't really have many accessories. All the wrestlers did come with a belt. I don't really have any of the belts anymore. I think I've got one or two lying around. But yeah, these were awesome. Like, Hacksaw Butch Reed's pose is just wicked. He's just ready for action. He's ready to beat someone's head in. Excuse me. And this is the UK edition with the tick on his trainers. I think the pants are slightly different shade as well. Yeah, I like the detail. Check out his face, and he's got the ring and everything. Awesome figure. Another great wrestler, Ron Simmons. Brilliant wrestler. He's in his pose. He's flexing the gums. He's ready to kick some ass in the ring. This is the UK version without the, the night tick. Yeah, awesome wrestler, awesome figure, awesome tag team. Another awesome tag team. Another favourite of mine, the fabulous Freebirds. These were a UK exclusive. We got Jimmy Jam and we got Michael P. Hayes. And yeah, these were great as a tag team. And it's when they was doing all the face paint era. Look at that pose. He's ready to bash someone's head in or clothesline someone. The attire, it's all colourful. Yeah, these were awesome. I really like these as a tag team, and I really like these as action figures too. Got the hair and everything down to a T. The likeness of Michael is, yeah, second to none. Brilliant figures. Who else do we have? Okay, so we've got two versions of Double A. So this is the original version. He's a bit hammered, but yeah, he's awesome. Great pose, you know, really good likeness to the actual wrestler, to the enforcer. I kind of like the UK version of him better though. I think that red attire pops better. You know, I know he's got like his initials on the trunks, and that was more like his real life wrestling attire, but I don't know, I think this figure just looks a bit better. Mine's a little bit hammered, but yeah, awesome wrestler. One of the horsemen, the four horsemen. Who else we got? Another awesome tag team. Steiner Brothers, Rick and Scott, sorry. These were awesome. The dog-faced gremlin. He's all hunched and ready to rugby tackle someone or give him the Steiner line. Yeah, I like his headgear. And, you know, he's got that mischievous look on his face, like he's going to slam someone into the canvas. Even got the tattoo. Awesome detail. Great figure. And his younger brother, Scott. Great pose. He's about to choke, slam someone into the turnbuckle. Yeah, he's got a mullet. There's a dope mullet. Yeah, he was awesome. There was another version of the Steiner Brothers, a UK version, where they had like different singlets on. Yeah, awesome figure. Awesome wrestler too. Both of them were awesome. Speaking of awesome wrestlers, we have the Earthquake from Hasbro. And what I liked about this figure is he had lots of articulation. You know, you could move his legs as well as his head. No waist movement, but yeah, you could move the arms and you can move them individually. Yeah, great figure. You know, a lot of the Hasbro figures, the legs just didn't move at all. But yeah, you could do his Earthquake splash and crush your opponents. Great wrestler. I was actually lucky enough to see this guy perform in it would have been 1991 in Birmingham at the NEC. There was a UK Rampage tour by the WWF. There was a British Bulldog, Legion of Doom, Nasty Boys. Who else was there? Natural Disasters, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Hacksaw, Jim Duggan. It was awesome. Undertaker, lots of great wrestlers, and it was awesome, you know, to see it live. We wasn't by the front, you know, it was in a big exhibition centre, the biggest one in the UK actually, called the NEC in Birmingham, and we was like quite high up, but the vibe and, you know, you could see what was going on in the ring, and the atmosphere of the place was just incredible. And I'm very, very grateful that my mum took me and my brother to watch that. Yeah, we got a coach from where we lived, you know, in the north of England, all the way down to the Midlands, and checked out a live show, and it was at the peak of all of that. And one of the wrestlers that was there is one of my favourite wrestlers of all time, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. He is awesome. Awesome figure, awesome pose, ready to lock up and, you know, chop someone in the chest. Yeah, brilliant figure. Yeah, he just got into WWF when I saw that tour, and yeah, he was kicking ass in the WWF. He was the real world champion. I remember him in WCW as one of the Horsemen, and he was kicking butt in that. And yeah, it's great to see him on that massive world stage. But yeah, this figure is awesome. I like the little detail of the RF on the boots there. And he's got it on his, you know, his trunks too. The Nature Boy. We have another icon, the Ultimate Warrior. I think this is version 2, I believe, which was a massive improvement to version 1. Version 1 was awful. Yeah, that spring thing. Well, he wasn't awful. He was a good character. The head, I think the head's the same, but maybe a different paint job. But the action was a little bit weird on that character. But this character and this version is great. And he did his gorilla press action, and you know, you could switch it round. His head doesn't actually move though. Maybe a little bit. But yeah, the Ultimate Warrior. Not the best wrestler, but he had the best energy. And his matches were, you know, over very quick. There were lots of squash matches. But yeah, he was a force to be reckoned with in the WWF. Yeah, great character, great figure. Not so great figure and not so great character is good old Brutus the Barber Beefcake with his jumping action. I always found that so weird. It reminded me of them sweets, you know, the Pez sweets, for some reason. Yeah, he's got like that goofy look on his face. Looks like he's been on the old marching powder. He's a bit wild, but yeah, he was a crazy character. I think he was better back in the days. You know, I didn't really watch him back in the days, but you know, when he was as a tag team with the Hammer, I think he was a bit better back then. I know he had a crazy accident and all of that type of stuff, but yeah, when he was like popping in, was it 88, 89? Yeah, he's more like a comedy character, you know what I mean? But the figure, it's okay. It's okay as a posing figure. You know, he's got the scissor look, but yeah, you know, some of these movements are a little bit weird, a bit questionable, I suppose. But yeah, I didn't like this thing on the back of him. I get why they did it. But yeah, I think the Rockers had that, and yeah, like I said before, Ultimate Warrior had that too. Well, yeah, he come with some scissors actually. Good old Brutus. And last, but definitely not least, we have the Stinger. 2 versions of him. We have the original Sting in his blue trunks, and we have the UK version in these peach trunks. I like them both. I think both the colours pop equally. I kind of like the face painting on the UK version better, to be totally honest. you know, it's exactly the same figure, just a different paint job. But I think this one pops better for me. You know, he even had the old rat tail straight from the 80s going into the early 90s. Yeah, he had an awesome pose, and he was an awesome figure. You know, awesome wrestler too. You know, he could do it all. He was technical, he was fast, he had the strength, and he was good at the mic skills. Yeah, Sting. So that's my collection of wrestling figures. I might acquire some more, you know. I might see if I can finish some of these collections. You know, I was considering getting some more WWF figures, but we'll see. You know, maybe I might do it. I was looking to get the WWF ring. I never had that as a kid, but I've looked on eBay and wow, some of the prices are extortionate to get one in good condition. Same as the WCW one. I never had that as a kid, but you know, maybe I might look at some of the more modern rings, see if they're a bit cheaper and if they're the same scale, just so we can display all of these. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that stuff, and I'll make some more videos for you. Cheers.